And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos will recover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On this week's episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos, Josh Peterson and I talk about, did one battle after another score well at the box office? Is it one of the most acclaimed pictures of this decade? We talk about that. Plus, what went on with the Tokyo Game Show? More Xbox price hikes. Plus, also, well, we do have prices on the Xbox handhelds. And, of course, talking about all good stuff, including our continuing saga on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We talk about all of that on the latest Pop Culture Cosmos, right there for you, wherever you get your podcast. Just type in Pop Culture Cosmos, and it comes up there for you indeed. Plus, also as well, of course, what we're going to talk about hopefully later this week on Inside Sports Fantasy Football, an interesting weekend in the NFL. We will discuss hopefully this week. Chris Sardieri and I hopefully get together to do that. Also, as well, of course, want to go ahead and give some love to my friend Drip Show. Look behind me, guys. It's up. Right there, right there, right there. Unlike Joe, I've actually put up my beautiful canvas art that Drip Show sent me. If you want something like this in a design, Lakers, Dodgers, what have you, design that he can do for you, you want something like that for your holiday season, a Christmas gift, something to tell, you can tell us, hey, honey, can you go ahead and make me a really cool Christmas gift? Go ahead and talk to Drip Show Shop. That's Drip Show Shop on Facebook and Instagram. You see it right there. It's right above, right there. Look at that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very nice from my good friend, Drip Show Shop. Right there for you. I am so blessed. It looks so fantastic. I am just so blessed that he did that. I'm overwhelmed every time I look at it. And I'll tell you what, if you want something like that in your life, or t-shirts, hats, and more, go ahead and check out Drip Show Shop right there for you on Facebook and Instagram. Message him, follow him, message him, and you can go ahead and have something like this in your home as well. Plus also, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo! Also, of course, Lakerholics crew, Lakerholics.com. The last post by Laker Tom talked about some more, what do you know, crazy trades by Laker Tom. How crazy are they? Find out today at Lakerholics.com. Also, as well, my good friend, Mr. Joe Sorrell, hopefully will stop on by. I asked him, do you want to go on at 9? He said, I don't know. So, I said, I got to go. I got to do the show. I want to do a little early today. All right. Media Day was today with the Lakers, and hopefully it was a good one for you. Hopefully you got out of it what you needed to. I wanted to go ahead and recap some of it, and hopefully the guys will stop on by to go ahead and discuss it right here on the show. If not, I got you covered right here at the Lakers Fast Break because it was very interesting. Okay, no, it wasn't that interesting. Just the usual LeBron stuff, talking about his future. Short term, long term, whatever you want to say it will be. Talked a little bit about Bryce, the generic stuff that was put out there by everybody else in Lakers land. In Clippers land, of course, Kawhi tried to turn down the heat that's currently on the Clippers organization. And I don't know, he just tried to deny everything, and we'll just leave it at that. I mean, that's something I think I'll probably want to get more into. Maybe if we do a Lakers radio show, we'll go ahead and do something like that. Maybe I get a legal expert on, maybe Laker Nick to come on to talk about it. So we'll go ahead, maybe save that for another day. But yes, he is trying to claim innocence with all charges brought against him, allegations, and therefore we'll see what happens with the NBA on that. But the Lakers did have their own media day. It wasn't as thrilling or exciting as that as far as the Clippers household. Just usual LeBron speak, usual Luka and coach speak out there, but I thought I'd go over some interesting things. First off, the Lakers did sign and go ahead and they finished off their two-way signings today by signing former first-round pick of the Charlotte Hornets. Basically, you could say a draft bust to this point, Nick Smith Jr. To a contract, to a two-way contract. He's someone who had really not planned out as far as on the NBA level. Has done okay in the G League over the course of the past couple seasons, but we will see what happens. He was waived by the Hornets last week. He appeared in 60 games last year, averaged about 10 points, just under 10 points, 2 rebounds and 2 assists a game. So we will see what he can bring the Lakers, if anything, as far as some time on here. In a corresponding move, the Lakers waived big man Kyler Kelly, who has played sparingly with both the Lakers as far as their G League team, Summer League team, and then now I believe he played a little bit with Dallas this past season. So he was waived to go ahead and coincide with the arrival of Nick Smith Jr. on a two-way contract. So we will see what happens with Nick Smith Jr. But again, not a great pickup by any stretch of the imagination. Someone who might fill up some time later on this season, or even halfway through if the injuries mount or whatnot. But I'm not expecting enough. I'm not expecting much from a kid that's 21 years old, 27 overall pick in the 2023 draft that really has not yet panned out to the level that I think a lot of people were hoping for. I know that Stone Hansen at Reporter_Court on Twitter was pleased about it. So let's see if he can do something for the Lakers. Again, Nick Smith Jr. popped up right there on as far as the two-way contract for the Lakers. So that was the most notable thing as far as what went on with the Lakers today. Xbox, how's it going, my friend? Joe says someone who's garbage and doesn't play defense, amazing. Again, I'm not taking too much from it. It's a two-way contract. Most of those guys are either young, have too many flaws in their game that really won't be able to help the Lakers. Christian Coloco, again, Nick Smith Jr., just really not that overwhelming. You saw how Christian Coloco was last year. So, again, I'm not really taking too much from it as far as Nick Smith Jr. is concerned. Stone Hansen, though, seemed to like to pick up, and I'll give him credit for that. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. Xbox is here. Hit the likes, guys. I wish you could. I don't know if you're done with your work for the day, Xbox, but you're always welcome to jump on. I sent you the link, my friend, to talk about what was said at Media Day today. The other news I wanted to go ahead and report on as far as the rookies are concerned is Adou Thiero, who I know a lot of people were starting to ask about, the second-round pick for the Lakers. He is still a little bit away from being able to go ahead and work out with the team because he's still going in rehab with his injuries to his knee. He is feeling some soreness in the knee. Still needs to go ahead and probably another week of rehabilitation before he might get cleared, or he'll be observed to get cleared. And so it's a little ways away for him. But he may be back by the end of the exhibition season, but still doubtful if he's going to even start the season with the Lakers because, he's not had any time in Summer League, and we'll see if he even gets any time in the exhibition season. I hope so, because I want to see the kid and what it's all about. If he could play defense at a high level, and if his shooting has improved in the offseason, we'll find out if that's the case. But other than that, a lot of talk about golf, which I know that excites no one here in regards to LeBron's golf game and Reeves talking about his golf game, which is actually pretty good, talking about LeBron's game, which is actually not so good. And pretty much, that was a good part of what was talked about today. Rui Hashimura had said he had a conversation with JJ Redick about what he wants from him this year. This is the year he really has to lock in and made a run. He talked about being in championship shape all summer. I think that's going to help in the long run in the playoffs. Again, Rui has to lock in because everybody knows that he has got something that he wants to look into. He said he's open to either coming off the bench or starting. He said he wants JJ had told him that he wants him to be more aggressive on both ends, just a mentality of being aggressive. That's going to be a key to his season. But obviously, for him, a lot of money is riding on the line as well, being a free agent at the end of the season. The only thing to be excited about is Luka. Okay, well, Joe, yeah, well, there you go. All right, you be excited only about Luka. Thanks for putting some smoke up in the room. I think a lot of people would like to be, a little bit positive about some of the other players out there, whether it's Austin, whether it's Rui, whether it's LeBron, whether it's DeAndre Ayton, whether it's Jake LaRavia, whether it's other people involved. But again, there are other players on the team besides Luka, and maybe one of them will actually get you excited about during the course of the season. But I know that a lot of other people in this chat and on the channel would like to get excited about other players as well. Xbox himself says the team looks great. Well, we'll see how great that team looks once they roll it out here in mid to late October when the season starts. But we'll get a little bit of glimpse of that here in the next few days because training camp is now underway. It will be over the next couple of days, and then we will see what happens on Wednesday the 3rd as the Lakers to go ahead. Excuse me, not Wednesday 3rd. October the 3rd on Friday, this upcoming Friday, when the Lakers have their first exhibition game of the season. Jonah Ball says, JJ says, we need you to be Celtic smart. Smart hasn't played that many games in years. Well, that's something I have discussed at length, Joe. As you know, the number 54 has continued to pop up with me when somebody talks about whether or not they want Marcus Smart in the starting lineup. Again, he has to prove he could be out there, stay out there for 20, 25 minutes, 15, 20 games, and then you can go ahead and decide whether or not you want him as your starter out there. Because again, I have my reservations and concerns. He can stay healthy at this stage of his career as well. Adam says, I see dead people. Never mind. My girl's not wearing makeup. Go Lakers. Okay. Well, I like the go Lakers part. Well, there you go. JSJ says Rui should have been with LeBron, Luka, and Austin. Yeah, I know that they wanted that cover shot. They seem to enjoy that with the three main players on the team. They seem to get that. Plus, they got the Luka and LeBron cover shot there. LeBron, again, was the major source of conversation. I know that Luka was out there as well, obviously talking about what he wanted to do. But what are you going to, as far as him trying to apply, he said all the right things during the course of today. But actually, was LeBron asking what first off, what did he focus on in the offseason besides his golf game? Was the catch and shoot threes. Thinking part about how Luka and Austin Reeves will be able to get hit into it more efficiently. LeBron said, that knowing that the end is soon, he draws motivation from the daily challenge of staying sharp. If he's tired on the second night of a road back-to-back, he can tell himself there aren't many of these left. Time to lock in. LeBron said he's excited to have a full season to play with Luka Doncic, went through the individual skill sets of the new acquisitions, and noted the benefits of having a full preseason to coalesce. He said about the rest of his career, and this is something that both Joe and Jamie Sweet and others have talked about. Would he announce his retirement on today's media day? I didn't think it would happen, and it didn't happen. But he said, I don't know when the end is, but I know it's a lot sooner than later. I'm just excited about the journey and whatever this year has in store for me. And in regards to Bronny, he said Bronny has his own career. He has his. And again, you could read that any way you want if their lines intersect. It all depends on how Bronny looks, I think, as far as whether or not he'll jump to the pros next season because of what he's doing in Arizona. We'll see how it works out. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Best League is here. Great to have you here. Go ahead and check out his article in the notes section of our Lakers Fast Break YouTube channel. He says they will not start Smart over Austin. He loses his trade value. JY says Smart said at the press conference today, it doesn't matter if he starts or not. Well, both he and Rui alluded to that. They're trying to be gracious. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but both, indicated that they don't have a preference on whether starting or coming off the bench. And JJ, of course, has been non-committal on making a determination on what the starting lineup will be as of yet. But we might know starting as early as this Friday, and we'll see what happens when the Lakers go ahead and have their first exhibition game coming up here in just a matter of days. Xbox says it's a great day. Best every day is great. There you go. Absolutely. That's the spirit. That's the positive spirit. I know that Joe Noseball was trying to suck the life out of the room. I'm glad to see you put some of that air back in. Yes, absolutely. Good for you, Xbox. Good for you. Adam says it really hasn't been the starting five for the Lakers that have struggled for the Lakers this last 3 years. It's been the bench. Well, again, Adam, as I say, and as I continue to say all summer long, the Lakers bench was one of the worst performing benches in the league last year as far as overall scoring, minutes, etc., effectiveness. Their bench was among the worst in the NBA. And Rob went out. He made 2 acquisitions. Now, whether you put Rui and Jake LaRavia off the bench, or you put Marcus Smart or Jake LaRavia off the bench, or perchance Austin Reeves and Jake LaRavia off the bench, your bench improves quite a bit. Now, does it make it an even average bench? I don't know. I don't want to go that far. But when you're one of the worst, even those addition of those two or 2 bodies, 2 hopefully quality bodies. Hopefully Jake LaRavia will continue the success that he played off last year, and hopefully Marcus Smart will find some semblance of what his career is left and be able to find who he is. I'm hopeful that he's in good shape this time around, because he even indicated his ineffectiveness at being on the court these past 2 seasons during today's media day. So he knows that. He knows he has not been available, and he knows that's something he has to be first and foremost addressing, because Marcus Smart acknowledged that these last 2 years have been rough with situations and injuries, and it feels like he has something to prove. People have probably forgot what I can do and what I can bring to the table. Well, maybe he can bring a lot to the table. That's what I'm hoping. I got to see it first, and I got to see him back on the court, being able to do things somewhat anywhere near what he did at his height in Boston. But again, I'm not expecting the DPOY Marcus Smart, because I think that ship has sailed. But if he's still an effective defender, if he's still an effective player, that's obviously a big help for that bench, Adam, you were definitely talking about. DeAndre Ayton said, this is an opportunity I'm truly not taking for granted. It's almost like a wounded animal. And he's saying the right things right now, and he did throughout media day today, guys, is regarding to DeAndre Ayton. And I think, again, here's another situation where he himself has a lot to prove to the NBA and himself and the Lakers. Can he be still a viable starting center in the NBA? We'll find out this year, and obviously a lot is on the line. If he opts out next year, that means he's had a pretty good year with the Lakers, and he's looking for a chunk of change once again. So we will see what DeAndre Ayton can do this year as this goes along. Ayton on LeBron, I always thought of him as a leader. I was always like a movie. It was always like a movie playing against LeBron. Now I'm his teammate. It's surreal. Talking basketball with him, it's not a dream anymore. So yes. And then playing alongside Luka for DeAndre Ayton is going to make things a lot easier. Well, let's hope it does. Let's hope it does, because if he's out there, Luka, can play at an MVP-like level. The pick and roll game, I think with him, LeBron or Austin working that action will obviously benefit DeAndre Ayton a lot, make him viable to be able to get to the hole, get to the bucket, be able to get easy baskets. I'm hoping he'll be more productive at getting to the line, because I know that's one of the major criticisms of defense. It's obviously paying attention to defense has been an issue and focus from time to time. I'm not going to kid you guys there, but one of the things is him not getting to the line. I know that Zach Lowe used to talk, I think it was Zach Lowe. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but Zach Lowe, I think, used to talk about how he used to get to the line, or joke that he used to get to the line once every 2 weeks. And so that tells you right there what you need to know about how inefficient he has been as far as utilizing the free throw line to his benefit. So I'm hoping he can at least do something nominal there to help increase his awareness and increase his effectiveness on the offensive side of the basketball. Corbino, what's up? He said they're all muscled up. LA Fitness Lakers. Well, they're at the UCLA Health Center. So it's funny, Corbino, because last night I was looking it up because I've been there. I've been right next to there. I've been to the Lakers store next to the UCLA Health Center, and it's so funny because if you look at it on Google, it lists it as a volleyball court. That's funny. It just cracked me up that the UCLA Health Center, where the Lakers practice and the Lakers are running training camp, et cetera, et cetera. And if you've seen it, it's a gated. It's a fairly sized building, gated, so you can nobody, security, you need to go in, before you need to be allowed in and all that. But it's just so funny that it's listed on Google as a volleyball court. I thought that was hilarious. Hey, what's up, Trayvon? Great to have you here. Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Media Day was earlier today, so I wanted to go ahead and make sure you guys got the quotes that you guys were looking for. Again, LeBron not stating that it was going to be his demise as far as his retirement. So people looking for him to retire today didn't get what they wanted. He did say that the end is coming sooner rather than later. He did not commit to a Bryce reunion in the pros. He said he's not too worried about this being the end of his contract and whatnot. So he said some things that, again, a lot to be expected. He didn't say anything passive aggressive, didn't take a shot. So again, for me, I really, really think that it was a positive sign for what LeBron was saying, and that he's looking forward to playing with Luka. And it seemed a good spirits today if you saw the video of them at Media Day today. JY says, I can't believe Bronny got time at the podium at the press conference. Do most team talks to their G League stars? JY, do you remember my conversation I had with his first year in Summer League? Did I tell you about his first game? I think I said the story on the air because this is when I really started like Dalton Connect. Was that Bronny was the star of that first game, even though he was terrible in that first game. It didn't matter. He went off the court and immediately ushered into a side room at the Thomas & Mack building with over 30 reporters waiting for him to answer questions. Meanwhile, Dalton Connect had one or two. I think Reed Shepherd had one or two at that point in time. I think it was Reed Shepherd. I think it was the Houston game, if memory serves. But anyways, the media has always been focused on Bronny James. So do not be surprised if Bronny continues to get time at the podium to speak because of who his dad is, who he is, and what the hopes are for many people on what they would like him to be as far as getting time. And Bronny, he was very, he didn't say anything that was going to piss anybody off. He just talked about working hard on his game over the summer and hopes to help the team. Just said some very generic stuff. And again, that's what you got to weed out. You have to spend time to weed out a lot of this generic stuff that you guys see and hear at quotes and Media Day, because that's a lot of what that is. It's just, these guys have media training. A lot of them have media training, and they're just told to say a lot of certain basic stuff. And pretty much that's what we got at Lakers Media Day today, which is not too bad. I don't mind. I usually like the spicy stuff. I usually like the stuff with a little, kick to it. So we can discuss it, so we can go over it, so we can argue for and against it. I think today, with Luka and LeBron being there, LeBron possibly his final year with the Lakers, I think it was just, again, there was nothing passive aggressive. It all seemed like kumbaya. It just seemed like something that we needed at this point in time. With the chaos going on across town, just a few miles away, with the Clippers and what disaster is going on right there right now, it's just I think it's like a breath of fresh air to just say, hey, you know what? No competition, no anger, no animosity, no tension. JJ has an extension. Rob is there doing his Rob stuff. Jeannie's doing her Jeannie stuff. It's just, again, just a straight media day where there's just not really that much excitement. And again, LeBron is not showing his hand yet on exactly when he's going to retire, but he did say a lot of the right things today that if you're a LeBron fan or you're a Lakers fan and you want to hear just some positivity come out of it, then there you go. If you're a LeBron hater, but not a LeBron hater per se, just like Joe, where he's not a LeBron hater, but he just would rather see the LeBron era end and the Luka era just be undistracted by that. You know, maybe you didn't get everything that you wanted because LeBron still, as far as from his comments, still leaves open the possibility of him playing more years and maybe playing more years in a Lakers uniform. So we'll leave it at that. Isaac said, do you hear Pippen say Luka's overrated? Pippen reminds me a little bit of Bret Hart. Bret Hart, some of what Bret Hart says is true. Some of what Bret Hart says is bitter. And Pippen, some of what Pippen says is true. And some of what Pippen says is a little bitter, Isaac. I'll just leave it at that. But you determine what he says is what you think he says is bitter and what you think he says is true. So I'll let you determine that. But nothing surprises me what Pippen says anymore because after what we've seen over the years with him and his, parting the ways with Jordan and those two going at it, over the years, over the, the quotes that they've said to each other, nothing surprising. Kurt Affair says media day is always a dog and pony show. Yeah, Kurt, it is, but there was no tension. I'm kind of glad it was relaxing that we just no tension. Nothing, nobody really said anything that was like, or nobody said anything that was, like, wow, we got to go ahead and retweet that, 5,000 times, or somebody said, something that, oh man, he was talking bad about this guy or that guy. I'd like the fact the Lakers media day today was kind of under the radar. It was just, kind of, it was there, it happened. And now the focus begins on training camp. And that's what I'm talking about. JSJ, yes, said, I'm so excited for Crown Jewel. I'm glad that you are. Crown Jewel in Perth. Kabuki Warriors versus Io Sky and Rhea Ripley was officially announced for that. That alone for me would be worth the price of admission if I was in Australia. But maybe SB or Jeremy or Xbox will be going to see that one. We'll see what happens. Kurt Affair says, I was glad to see Aiden having a positive attitude. Seems generally glad to be here. I'm glad to see it too, Kurt, but I think he needs to say that. He needs to understand that a lot is on the line for him. A lot is on the line for him financially in the last year of his contract. Well, I'm sorry. He's got a 2-year contract, but he can opt out after next year. So essentially, this is a 1-year contract for him. And if he plays well, he can still earn starter money on his, as far as the next contract is concerned. If he does poorly, then obviously his future, as he's entering his prime as an NBA starting center, is now in question going forward. So this is essentially a make it or break it year for him to make sure that he can go ahead and still play at a high level of basketball as an NBA center. I know that speaking of Zach Lowe, I heard him mention that, while there's still, right now 10 to 12 teams that could have cap space, the actual number by the end of the year, maybe through signings, extensions, trades, what have you, during the course of the year, may whittle down to 5 or 6. It's still 5 or 6 teams that might have substantial cap on there. And, whether it's a Washington, whether it's Indiana, whether it's the Lakers, whether it's the Clippers, whether whoever might have that cap space, it's still important for DeAndre Ayton to play at a high level this season because the financial ramifications. obviously, if he plays poorly, picks it up next year, you could say the same thing on that again. But I think that really a lot of eyes will be on him this year to go ahead and perform at a high level. I don't know if he does crappy this year or if he gets injured this year and then he plays pretty good next year, if he's going to be able to sign a deal for the same amount or a high amount or get starter level money in the summer of 2027. That still remains to be seen. Basically says I was waiting. They fired JJ, but they extended it. Yeah, that I don't know who you were thinking that was going to happen to, Besley, but right now Rob is still in charge. And again, Jeannie extended Rob earlier this year. It all rolls downhill. Rob extended JJ, and you know it also as well. The Bus Boys, they've got their side gig going now, but they're also make sure that they're signed up as far as being a part of the Lakers front office as well. So yes, they're all taking care of each other up there at El Segundo in the Lakers front office before any changes from Mark Walter happens sooner or later. They're all been taken care of by then. Isaac says, any AR updates on his workouts and what he plans to improve on with his defense? Isaac, I'm glad you asked because in the recent days, I know that both JJ Redick and Austin talked about this. Austin talked about his golf game and LeBron's golf game a lot today, but he did mention something about his workout. He did talk about his off season where he did try to make sure that he was in the best shape possible. Reeves, JJ said this of Reeves after an off season of work on the court and in the weight room. His body is really good right now. He's really strong. His burst, his athleticism, it's evident that he spent a lot of time working on his body this summer. He did not specifically, Austin Reeves, point out the defensive issues and working and addressing those. I think that's something that if I was there or Joe was there, we might have touched on a little bit with him at Media Day. But again, it's something that he is in, the old vernacular at Media Day. Every NBA player heading into the season or heading into training camp is in the best shape of their lives, almost seemingly, or they're injured. But he did say he was in great shape and is looking to go ahead and looking forward to the season because a lot of money for him is riding on it as well. I did want to mention Gabe Vincent and Jared Vanderbilt. Gabe Vincent on his offseason work and plan. For him, it started in the film room. A lot of it was playing off the catch, knowing that we have these three guys, Austin, Luka, and LeBron, that would be primarily handling the ball. So he did a lot of film work. Hopefully he's able to apply that to what he needs to do to become a consistent player off the bench this season. For Jared Vanderbilt, this is the first year in the last few years he's been able to come into camp fully healthy after an off season of work on and off the court, because I've mentioned previously that he had his double foot surgery now 2 summers ago. So having that confidence going into the year instead of playing catch up is big. It's super important. So we will see again the double foot surgery 2 summers ago. No excuses this time to see what he could do to also become a consistent player coming off the bench, because he certainly, and Gabe Vincent certainly, was not last season. Jackson Hayes on his offseason focus, really playing a lot of pick and roll, coming in with the second group and just being a Swiss Army knife. He did gain some weight this summer so they can use me in different ways. It was important to me because I've always been a little lighter, wanting to gain some healthy weight, getting me eating the right stuff, a certain amount of calories, making sure my body still felt good while gaining this weight. Maxi Kleber said, I feel fully recovered and fully healthy. He is ready to go, guys. He is ready to go. And Bronny James on his growth out of the summer league, just working on all the same stuff I was working on before, whether that's diet or specific skills that I need to grow, trying to create a good routine. That's many of the quotes there that I was able to go ahead over with you on that as far as what happened in Media Day. Again, the Lakers did sign Nick Smith Jr., who was a former first-round draft pick with the Charlotte Hornets, to a 2-way contract earlier today because he cleared waivers. So again, maybe someone that can give us some time coming off the bench for certain periods of time. So we'll see how he develops and see if he can give the Lakers anything. But if Charlotte didn't have confidence in him to retain him for another year, I think 2 years on his contract, because he had another 2 years on his rookie contract. Let's hope that the Lakers can get something out of him that Charlotte could. Kurt Affair says Luka said he would like JJ to be the coach for the rest of his career. And again, they're just all saying what that's going in there that you guys want to hear, and it's good. It's positive. Let's see if it's still what he wants to say at the end of the season. JSJ says, do you think Seth will get his first win against Cody? Yes, I do think it'll be a heavily interfered match. The vision will help Seth win his title. Yes, I do. Because I think it all is leading up to CM Punk winning the title for a nice run, his final title run of his career, starting at WrestleMania. Isaac, great question on AR. Yeah, absolutely. Again, telling you all the things he needed to tell you. Didn't like to focus so much on his and LeBron's golf game, but that's, again, when you have something media day, when you have a media day that's so by the book, by the numbers, there's really not a whole hell of a lot to talk about, guys. Once you got beyond LeBron's retirement, the Bryce thing, the health issues of certain guys and how they feel. Adu Thiero was the only one that we didn't know any status on, and he is still at least a week away from being cleared by the doctors to participate with the Lakers. So I believe he's going to be behind the curveball, so to speak, for a little while. So don't expect much of Adu Thiero yet. He might be able to play during some point of the exhibition season, but when you're talking about a knee injury, you don't want to potentially push it because he has had some swelling in his knee. So yeah, it's just something that we have to go ahead and talk about from time to time. But wanted to mention to Adu Thiero as well. Isaac says, Connect gonna have to settle for scraps again, or will he ever get a rotation spot? Corbina said, where's Coloco? He was there. Not too much as far as any quotes from him, but he was there. He is on a two-way, by the way. Kurt Affair said Thiero did look jacked. Well, let's hope he can jack up and make some three-pointers, Kurt, because he sure as hell didn't do that in college. Otherwise, we have a one-way player once again, which is going to be interesting in a way to coach, because again, he's a good defender, can be a really good defender in this league from what I've seen, but he has got to be able to shoot better than 25% from three. I think it was 26% from three at the college level. And that's a shorter line. It's shorter. It's a shorter distance than the pros. So he's got to be able to go ahead and do that. Kurt Fair says, what do you think of adding Nick Smith Jr.? I know that Stone Hansen liked it. If you were looking at @report_court on Twitter, I don't think it's bad. I mean, it's what a two-way player is all about. It's what a two-way contract is all about. You're looking at for guys that maybe under a different system will flourish under your system and provide you with something like a diamond in the rough. And that's basically essentially what these NBA GMs are doing, is they're trying to find diamonds in the rough from one man's trash is another man's treasure type deal. The old adage there. They're trying to find guys that they think can eventually become regular rotation players that they can utilize. And we'll see what happens. Nick Smith, again, I know that Joe Knows Ball was kind of, adamant about, but he was right. Defensive issues, a scoring guard, could be more consistent with the shot would be nice. But we'll see. We'll see how that works out. In fact, let me go ahead and bring up the stats for everybody on Nick Smith last year. Again, his 2 seasons. Okay, he went from 6 points a game to just under 10 points a game. Played in 60 games last year. Started 27 of them. Averaged about 23 minutes a game. His 3-point percentage was about 34%. The first year was actually looking promising at 43%. So maybe he can find a rhythm offensively as a shooter. That's still not out of the realm of possibility. Shot around 50% overall both seasons. So didn't provide you much in the way of assists or rebounds. So basically, if he's going to be a scoring guard, you need him to go ahead and be able to shoot well from beyond the arc. So if he gets to 38%, back up to 38%, because he is 43% on a small sample size in his first season, Kurt, you might have something there. But again, why did Charlotte bail out on him after only 2 years, after only 2 seasons? My only hope is that the Lakers will find in him what Memphis didn't find with Jake LaRavia. Because you remember, as I've talked about, Jake LaRavia had his 4th season on his rookie contract taken away from him, and he was given he was told he's going to be a free agent at the end of last year. So what did he do? Realizing his NBA career was going to be stuck up against a wall unless he started to perform, dramatically improved his shooting and his overall play last season for both Memphis and then Sacramento. So with that, I'm hoping for that same type of wake-up call for Nick Smith Jr. because, again, you only have so many chances in this league. There are guys, and I talked about this during the course of the summer league, Darius Bazley. You guys all remember Darius Bazley. You guys all talked about, Darius Bazley, he's got to make the team. He should be on the Lakers or he should be in the NBA again. Remember, he was a starter on Oklahoma City before they started to really improve that team. And once you lose that spot, there's only so many spots in the NBA. Once you lose that spot, it is so hard to get back in. It's like musical chairs. Once you're left out and you're on the outside looking in and you've lost that musical chair to sit on, when the music stops, it's really hard to find that chair once again. So my hope is that Nick Smith gets the wake-up call he needs and can provide the Lakers 38% shooting and scoring ability. He obviously will probably, from what I've seen, not be able to help us much on the defensive end, but if he can become a consistent scorer for, the amount of games in 2 ways until they're able, if he gets improved to the point like Jordan Goodwin, that by the end of the year, you want to make that the team will make him, will bump him up from a 2-way into a full contract. If it gets to that point, guys, then obviously it's been a success for the Lakers. JSJ said, I wanted Nick Smith Jr. over JHS. Well, I think we wanted a lot of other people than JHS. I think if you remember that draft show that we did, Joe and I, we wanted other people. Cam Whitmore. We'll see what Cam Whitmore can do in Washington. For example, Podziemski. I know that we fought, for Podziemski, and he's done a solid job in Golden State. So we'll see what happens with Nick Smith Jr. But this is a chance to get a 21-year-old player who should understand where he's at in his NBA career and understand that he still could have a long life in the NBA, but it starts by working hard and trying to work on some of your deficiencies, making that to where they're not as deficient as they once were with Charlotte, being able to improve and also try to provide consistent shooting coming off that bench. And that, if that's the case, then you know what? Give Rob credit for being able to find that diamond in the rough. But remember, when you're talking about these 2-ways, whether they're draft guys that were undrafted that were given a 2-way, or if they're just a guy that's been waived or sent packing from another team, you're trying to find those 2-ways are just GMs trying to find one of them to pop and become a diamond in the rough. Kirk Affair says teams are less patient now with the young guys. Kobe Buffkin, good point. Mark Williams, good point. Now Nick Smith. Yeah, the thing that kills me is, Kurt, is the Mark Williams thing, because you remember they got rid of Nick Richards, who was a really solid backup center, one of the better backup centers in the league, and they got rid of him to Phoenix, ironically, and now they did the same thing again to Mark Williams because they didn't want to pay him an extension because of his durability or whatever it is that in Charlotte that's going on. They would rather have a gaping hole in the middle, which is what they currently have, unless Kalkbrenner is much better than advertised as a second-round draft pick, right now they would rather have a gaping hole than have Mark Williams there and offer him an extension. So that tells you, I think, all you need to know. But yeah, gives us hopefully an opportunity to capitalize. That it does. That it does indeed. Corbina says Cam Reddish looked good overseas. Give him a. Oh, Corbina, no, don't even start that. Don't. No, 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 no. Cam Reddish. Don't you start that with Cam Reddish, Corbina. I had to hear it from our audience about how good he looked as a backup on the Knicks when he was sent packing from Atlanta. Then he went to Portland and fizzled out in Portland. But when people were dying for him to get to LA, they were so happy when he got to LA, and he stunk up the joint for 2 seasons. So no, he's not coming back on a 2-way. Plus, you also got to remember, Quabina, there's an age and experience. You're only the 2-ways are meant for younger players. You cannot keep older veteran players when they reached a certain age or number of season limits. I forget what that is, but I believe Cam Reddish is too much of a veteran now that he could probably not be back on a 2-way. I don't put that in stone, but I don't think he could even be put back on a 2-way, even if you wanted him to. JSJ says, we need a wing. Let's sign Cam Reddish. Yeah. Okay. All right, JSJ. That was your Kurt affair there, talking about that. Looking forward to my gaping hole, Charlotte's. Yes, gaping hole in the Charlotte's Hornets center jersey. Absolutely. There you go. Gaping hole at center. Yes, there you go. Charlotte is a cursed franchise. No, it's just a poorly run franchise. It's been a poorly run franchise for years. And you hope with Com Knipple, who they drafted, and LaMelo Ball might want to stay on the court now. Maybe. Brandon Miller might want to stay on the court now. Miles Bridges might want to stay off the police blotter. Maybe now that they have some semblance of some players there, they can start building forward towards the future. But we'll wait and see at Charlotte. And Charlotte has had a tendency to go ahead and mess things up. So yeah, absolutely. Just looking forward to seeing what the Lakers can do, though. Truly appreciate you joining us. It is Lakers Media Day today. It happened. And again, I want to say unremarkable, but it's a positive and good unremarkable. Nobody said anything really controversial. Nobody said anything that gave audible gasps in the room. Nobody said anything that was passive aggressive. It was just straight. It was straightforward. It was basic. They gave you all the athlete speak that you could ask for, and sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's good, so we can focus more on what's going on with training camp. We can focus more on what's going to go on with the rotation and what we can start looking forward to later this week, guys. Because later this week, it's going to hit you in the face with it, because exhibition season is coming this week, and hopefully you're looking forward to it. JSJ said, remember Westbrook and Media Day. Exactly. That's just, again, it was a very unremarkable Lakers Media Day, and that is a good thing. That is a good thing because, again, compared to what's going on across the town, let them have all the distractions a few miles away at Clippers Center Court or at the Intuit Dome, or Intuit Dome, because that's where they have their practice facility. The Intuit Dome, let them have all the controversy they can handle. Let them have the dark cloud hovering over their team. It's only going to be a distraction to them because it continues on. Pablo Torre found out a little bit more. If you haven't checked out his latest podcast on Pablo Torre Finds Out, he dropped part 5 of the investigation into the Clippers earlier today, involving a charity, a payment to this charity in an amount that leaves some questioning about where that amount was going to and what it was for. I won't be able. I don't want to break the spoilers, but yeah, if you guys want to go ahead and check out Pablo Torre Finds Out, he added a 5th part to this, and he knew he did it today. He knew to do it today and let it drop today, or actually this morning, before the media members were gathered at Media Day. He knew to drop it, so timing was there indeed. So yeah, absolutely. Gregory Brown says, Gerald, I like Nick Smith Jr. He's got some talent. Maybe he can work himself up. Eventually take Vince's spot. He's a nice pick. We'll see, Greg. Again, if it comes the end of the season and the Lakers take him off the two-way, because remember, as a two-way player, you can only play so many games at the NBA level. I think it's 45 or 50, what have you. You're only allowed a limited number of games to play as a two-way, where you either just finish them off and they can no longer play any games for the rest of the season, or they have to put them to a standard 1-year contract. The goal, if Nick Smith pops or Nick Smith plays well, he will get a 1-year contract by the end of the season. And if that's the case, then it's been a big plus for the Lakers, which, they can use scoring off the bench. Absolutely, because that's the one thing he can do. But he's also, if he can shoot, if he can get you 38 to 40%, because he shot 43% in limited number of attempts last year in his first year, shot only 34 last year, which is part of the reason why he's gone. If he can get back up to 37, 38, 39, then we might have something there for you guys to take a look at. Kurt Affair says Pablo Torre finds out Joe Soro is in the results business. Yes, Kurt. Well read. Well said, my friend. I'm telling you, man, you missed your calling to write those monologues for the late night hosts before they all get kicked off the air. Best League says, great show indeed, Xbox. Yeah, great to have you here. Truly appreciate you joining. I know it's not the largest crowd that we've had before, but I'll tell you what, I'm glad you're here. It is Gerald Glassford. I told you guys I would give my appraisal for Lakers Media Day, and Joe said he didn't know if he was going to be able to show up, so I got to do it anyways. So John Costa, Joe, hopefully we'll be able to get together, do a Lakers Fast Break radio show later this week. I hope he can bring on Jamie Sweet, because he said Jamie Sweet said he would try to hop on a show this week to talk about Lakers Media Day. I know he's disappointed that his prediction for LeBron retirement did not come true. But yes, definitely looking forward to seeing what he will have to say. Hopefully, if I can get him on the show this week. Kurt Affair, thank you so much. He messaged you. He wanted to get you something, Kurt. He wanted to get you something. Come on, man. See how good this looks. I was overwhelmed. He just said, can I send you something? He was on a chat like this, a few weeks ago. And he just said, can I just send you something? I said, sure. Yeah. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just going to be a hat or something. And I would be very appreciative of that. Then he sends me this, and this blew me away. I'm 56 years old. I've seen a whole hell of a lot in my lifetime. When I opened that, those were one of few things. Very few things surprised me and overwhelmed me. This right here overwhelmed me. And if you want something like that too, please first follow Drip Show Shop on Facebook and Instagram and reach out to him, message him saying you want something like this for the holiday, or have the missus or the family or the relatives or the friends at work or anybody that you think would go ahead and get Drip Show on your Instagram or Twitter as well. Twitter and Instagram right there for you at Drip Show Shop. Please go ahead and message him and say you want something like this, or tell him what you have in mind. If it's something, I'm sure he can accommodate. If you've seen his stuff around what he's doing, he already posts all the time, his work, it's Dodgers related, it's pop culture related, it's Lakers related. I mean, he'll get you a quote. I'm sure he'll do it. I'm sure he's in this chat right now. So yeah, he'll get you a quote. Please, if you want some quality stuff in your home, whether it's a t-shirt, whether it's a hat, whether it's great canvas art like this or more, if you've got an idea in your head, or if you think the missus or the family would love to have something like this, or maybe there's a Lakers fan or a Dodgers fan in your life, or a sports fan in your life, please go ahead. I implore you to go ahead and reach out to at Drip Show Shop on Twitter and Instagram. Kurt Affair says, I always represent Chris when I can get a chance. He did kindly message me. He deserves all the success. Yeah, there you go. All the success. That too, to quote Joe. But he deserves all the success that he can. Yes, he deserves all the both that and the success that he can. Uh, I will just say, Kurt, if he offers you something, take him up on his offer because there you go. You see the results of that. Man, just it's overwhelming. I did not ask for it, did not ask for any designs. He came up with himself, seeing that I have a background with the Lakers and pop culture. And there you go. Yes, he deserves both. Indeed. Yes, he deserves quite a bit. My faux pas right there. Verbal faux pas, so to speak. But going to go ahead in the last 5 minutes here ish. Talk about, finish up, wrap up the media day. Tell me your guys' thoughts on this before we head on out. Your thoughts in the chat. I mean, did you want something more from media day? Because personally, I was thinking there was going to be something more. I was thinking LeBron was going to do a LeBronism. I'm glad that he didn't do a LeBronism, that he just spoke plainly, basic, I'm in, there's not as much ahead as there was behind me in my career. Bryce is on his own path. I'm on mine. You know, I'm okay with the fact that it's the end of my contract. We'll see what happens from there. Basic stuff like that. I'm paraphrasing, but basic stuff like that. I'm just glad that Luka, LeBron, JJ, nobody seemed miserable. Everybody seemed in good spirits. LeBron and Luka and Austin and LeBron and Luka, as you see on the JPEG here, taking pictures together. It was nice. It was cordial. It's good. It sends a good message into training camp. But if there's something that you wanted to, just really hear something juicy or something that you felt was missing, let me know in the comments. Aiden had some quotable moments like angry Aiden and pressure is privilege. Better than dominating, Kurt. Really, it's better than dominating because let's face it, since he's been in the NBA, he ain't been dominating. That's for sure. But even if he can get close to dominating, that will really help the Lakers. And again, that's going to help his paycheck in the long run too, because if he opts out of next year's contract and becomes a free agent in the summer, that means he had a good season and he's looking to get paid. And he can still be thought of as a starting center in this league. And that's what I think is on the line for him. I talked about last year with everybody that's going on as far as that had money on the line. And then, of course, D'Angelo Russell. I talked about him. He had to prove himself that he is still a starter in the NBA. And if you saw, Dallas was his only resource. Dallas was his only recourse as far as being able to stop and be a starting in this league. If Dallas didn't have something addressing and pertinent because of the injury of Kyrie Irving, he might have had to wait he might have still been a free agent until Houston came. Well, he couldn't even sign in Houston right now because they can't sign anyone. So again, this is a make it or break it year in my opinion, in many ways for Marcus Smart and DeAndre Ayton. We will have to wait and see. This is also years where I think that is very important to Rui Hachimura and also as well, of course, for Austin Reeves, because those two guys, they're in their prime. Next year will be the year that both will be looking to get probably their biggest contracts of their entire career. 3-4-year contracts that they may not be able to get any other time on the back end of their careers. This probably will be it for them to getting these type of contracts. And so they have to perform and have to perform well this season. Carter Fair says, I liked when Jake LaRavia was asked if he could believe LeBron's been in the NBA for 23 years. And he replied back with, I'm 23 years old. Yes, that was classic need. And by the way, congratulations to Jake LaRavia, who got married over the weekend. What a way to spend time on a honeymoon. Go to El Segundo and visit the volleyball court at the UCLA Health Center. What do you know? Indeed. Isaac says, you think they will trade AR if they can't come to terms on a contract? That's a good question, Isaac. It depends on where the Lakers are at in the standings heading into the trade deadline. I don't think they will come to terms on a contract personally during the course of the season. I think they're going to let it play itself out. I'm not saying that they won't sign him up for a new contract in the summer, Isaac. Uh, but if AR has another season like this past season, he's going to ask for 30, 35 million probably, maybe even more. He'll probably might go for some greed and go for 40. But if he has a season statistically like this past season, 25-5, despite his defensive issues, he'll be looking to get paid. And it's whether or not you want to commit to him. I wouldn't want to commit to him that high, but that's just me. But then again, I don't think they will come to an agreement on terms of the contract. We'll see if I'm wrong or not. But we will see if that's the case. But there's a very good possibility that they could trade him, Isaac. I would say that's a sound decision if the Lakers are, let's say, fourth or fifth place in the Western Conference heading into February for trade deadline season, and the Lakers could use a different type of player in the mix, and they see that one's available, and that team is probably maybe a lower end team that's looking to dump some money. AR could be that ticket to it, but remember, AR is only on the hook for $14 million a year, Isaac. So to get any really good player in a trade back for him, more than likely, unless they're on a rookie scale contract, you're probably going to have to bundle contracts with his, which would mean a Maxi Kleber, a Gabe Vincent, or even a Rui Hashimura might be bundled in that pick, in the deal with him, so that you can put money together that's expiring, because the expiring contracts closer to the end of the year for 5, 10, 12, maybe even 13 or 14 or 15 teams might look really attractive to them. And during February, if their seasons don't go the way as planned. Now, if the Lakers are close to, let's say, a third or a second seed in the Western Conference come the February trade deadline, then they will probably keep AR, write it out as is, and make a trade that will help the back end of the roster, the rotation roster, or some other area, and they won't mess with what's working. But again, it all depends on where the Lakers are at in the standings come February, if that makes any sense, Isaac. Kurt Affair says, "I can't believe you weren't invited." Yeah, that's right. You didn't go to. You didn't go to Selena Gomez's and Benny Blanco's wedding either. Kurt, come on, man. You're on the out list, man. You got to get your back self on the in list, man. Got to get yourself back in there. Johnny 2K6, how you been doing, man? Hopefully all is well with you. If AR deserves to get paid, he should get paid. If it's with another team, so be it. I'd be happy. I would be happy for him as well, Johnny. Don't get me wrong. I don't wish ill will on Austin. He's done great for us as a guy. Remember, he was undrafted, has proven a lot of skeptics and draft pundits wrong by making himself a much better player than expectations. But, there's only so much you really want to spend on AR because of his defensive deficiencies. And the fact that for the most part, he has not played well in the playoffs. Like I said, defensively, he's only had one series where in all the series that he's played, he's only had one series where he's actually done a decent job defensively. Offensively, it's been very much hit or miss. And we saw in the Minnesota series where he got totally played off the court almost by Anthony Edwards. And, he cannot have that kind of playoff run again for the Lakers if they want to commit that kind of money to him. But we'll see. We'll see what he does over the course of this season. But I'm very interested to find out because of what the context is as far as him wanting a new contract, Rui wanting a new contract, DeAndre Ayton wanting a new contract, Marcus Smart wanting a new contract, Jake LaRavia, he's only on a 2-year straight up $6 million deal. He's essentially playing for a long-term contract in 2027. These guys are all got money on the line. Gabe Vincent's trying to find another contract to stay in the league. Same thing with Maxi Kleber. He's got Europe calling. If he isn't ready and up to it, he says that he's finally healthy and ready to go. He's been a disaster these past 3 seasons in Dallas, so he's got to go ahead and get himself back into the good grace of the NBA as well. If he plays anywhere near like he once did, then that could be a big bonus for the Lakers as well. But I'm not expecting it. I don't think anybody should expect it, but they can hope for it because he brings a different dynamic if he's on and he's shooting close to 40% as a 6'10" guy that can muscle in there, give you a big body, and be able to get you some rebounds, defend positionally, and be able to stretch it up from three. Johnny says, thanks so much for asking. I'm doing well. Kamusta. Yeah, Kamusta. Yeah, there you go. Mabute, my friend. Appreciate it, Johnny. My love to all the Pinoy out there. As someone who has a Filipino wife, I try to respect the community as much as I can. Although, as I tell you, Johnny, every time I go to Seafood City and I say salamat or salamat po, I almost get this weird look. Then I get the laugh, and then I get the two things. Is your wife Filipino? And then have you been to the Philippines? That's what I get. It's like in a succession. I get the weird look, the laugh. Is your wife Filipino? And have you been to the Philippines? It all happens like one right after the other, Johnny. So it really cracks me up because it's always the same thing. All the 20 plus years I've been married to Gregory says AR really is a $25 million player. Lakers would go 30 million though. I wouldn't. Anything over 30, not doing it. I think they would go 30. I agree with you, Gregory. I think and Xbox would love to hear this. I think he has roughly the same value as Josh Giddey does at $25 million. That's what I would pay him. 25 would probably be the max I'd go. But I think the Lakers would go higher for him because he signed his last contract was at a discount. I believe he was probably worth 17 to 18 million on his last contract that he signed, but he didn't get that. He didn't get that. He got only 14 million. So I think that he will probably ask for 35 to 40, and he'll probably get third somewhere, whether it's the Lakers or somewhere else, right around 30. Yep. Again, Johnny, it's just I've been frequenting Filipino places for years now, over 2 decades, and it's just always the same thing in succession every single time. I'll just leave it at that. But I love the Filipino community. They've embraced me, and I embrace them. Absolutely, it's very much love for them as well. JY says the question is, will AR take the most money or will he go to a contender and take less? JY, I think if you were in that position, was he 27? Let me look at Austin Reeves. It's 27, 28. Reeves. Because remember, he came out of 4 years college. So he is an older individual, 28, 19. So yeah, he's 27. So he's 27. He's going to be 28 right around the end of the season, end of May. He'll be 28. He has only got one real chance, I think, to get a long-term 3 to 5 year well-paying contract. Because then on the other side of it, he'll be in 32, 33, maybe 31, but more likely 32, 33. And then him probably not going to be able to get those kind of dollars coming on the backside of it. So if I'm him, I'm going to assume I'm only got one shot at getting a big paycheck, a life-changing, life-altering paycheck that will help generations of my family. And that's something we all have to think about. I mean, I know that we just don't care. We sign Bear signed with the Lakers for whatever. You got to understand, to these guys, this is generational wealth that they're staring at the face of. And we have to put it in context. If it was us, and that's a good question by JY, do you go with the winner for less, or do you go and try and maximize it out? Hoping that even if you're on a losing team, let's say like a Washington or a Utah or whatnot, let's say you signed for 35 million there. And that Gregory and I don't think he's worth that, but let's just say he signs for 35 million somewhere, Washington or Utah. You can hope that eventually if you play well enough, you're eventually going to be able to find your way through a trade or somehow onto a better team, a team that can contend in the playoffs. But if I was him and I'm advising him, I would tell him to max it out now. Max it out now, as soon as, the summer, and just try to get the maximum amount you can, because he got burned. Remember, he got burned, JY, a little bit, because he was trying to put, last time he was a free agent, try to put his feelers out there, San Antonio, Houston, other places. And he had to end up coming back to the Lakers and signing for a little bit cheaper than I think he thought he was going to get when he put himself out there. Well, he's had better seasons since then. And if he has a season like he did last season for this season, then he is going to be looking to get paid. And I think it's in his best interest, if I was advising him, to try and max out his pay. I don't say that because I hate Austin Reeves, or I don't want to be on the Lakers or anything like that. I'm just telling you, if you're looking at it from that perspective, you're probably going to say he's going to max out his contract at the end of the season and go for the highest bidder, whether it's the Lakers or somebody else. So we will see what happens. But Johnny 2K6 that says, I appreciate AR initially taking those team-friendly contracts, and I do hope he looks out for himself this time around. Hate to see him go, but if he does, I appreciate everything. Yeah, I appreciate everything he has done for us too. Again, he has exceeded expectations. Anytime a guy like him, Lou Dort, any undrafted player gets to the NBA and makes a positive contribution like those guys do, you have to consider it a win for them. You have to consider a win for the organization that you got that much out of him. Alex Caruso, look at him now. I mean, he's signed contracts, big contracts since then. He just signed an extension with Oklahoma City. So, and he was an undrafted player. He bounced around the G League before finally finding success on the Lakers. So again, you got to be happy for these guys, just the fact that they made it, that they were not well thought of. You see, the Nick Smith Jr. is a great example. He was a first-round pick. It was a late first-round pick, but he was a first-round pick, had a guaranteed contract for 4 years that he could have played through if he just met their expectations, but he didn't work out. They decided to cancel the last 2 years and waive him and cancel the last 2 years, with him. And instead, he is now fighting for his NBA life as a two-way player for the Lakers. So you cannot take your opportunities in the NBA for granted, because you don't know how many more you're going to get. Jono Ball says, Gerald, who's better, Denver or the Lakers right now? Lakers or OKC right now? Where do you rank the Lakers? Well, again, I have not made my full prediction as of yet. I don't, Jono Ball, you're kind of new here. But I do every year ask all of the guys who show up on the panel on a yearly basis, except for Joe, who just growls and says, I don't do that prediction stuff, blah, 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 blah. Everybody else, I ask through emails. And I even ask you guys out there, if you guys are interested, before the season starts, I make a call out. Whoever wants to put out there, you give me your detailed NBA predictions as far as Eastern Conference, Western Conference, etc. Then I also go into Coach of the Year, MVP, etc., etc. I am toggling with the Lakers between 3rd through 6th right now. I'm 3rd through 6th. I'm leaning on the higher because of the fact that there's 7 players on the Lakers who are financially motivated to have great regular seasons, or good regular seasons per se. Money is a motivator, and whoever tells you it isn't is kidding themselves. Money is a motivator. So I'm leaning a little bit towards the higher side. That being said, and also the fact that the Fred VanVleet injury to Houston, I think, is going to, at least on the first part of the season, until they do something until they can do something to address it, it's going to be hard on Amen Thompson and Reed Shepherd. Reed Shepherd is going to be thrust in there. Amen Thompson is going to be given the ball a lot more. These guys are better focusing on different things than being, the day-to-day point guard. But circumstances happen, and they're going to be thrust into that role. And thus, you might not be able to get the maximum out of Houston's roster initially. So that being said, do I think Denver is better than the Lakers. I think Denver had a great offseason. I think they filled a lot of needs. On paper, it looks a lot better for them. And this is a team that went 7 games with Oklahoma City, as you and I discussed yesterday. That being said, I think OKC is still the team to beat. How can you argue with the team that they have, the depth, the roster, the depth they have? They are a little bit rudimentary in their half court offense. If you can limit your turnovers and understand how they run their offense, it's either SGA one way or J Will the other way. It's really easy to pick up exactly what they do on offense in the half court. But if you can limit their transition, you can limit the turnovers, and you can limit the number of free throw attempts to them, you can beat them. They are not infallible. They're a very beatable team if you play the right way. But they get you with their frenetic style, the defense, the length, the athleticism they can throw at you, the unique looks they can throw at you. Almost anyone in the league cannot do all the things that they can do. They're very versatile. They're more versatile than any team in the league. Plus, they have more depth than any team in the league. And they have a treasure trove of assets. They can go ahead and fix any problems during the course of the year that they need to, if they so choose to. So I think if you say OKC is not your favorite, you got to be, the only other team I think in this equation I'll say is Denver. And that's because, when you have Jokic and you've surrounded him with a better quality team of depth than what you had last season, he definitely, to me, is the provides the number 2 team in the NBA. I think OKC and Denver are the top 2 teams in the NBA, Joe No Ball. That's my prediction right now heading in. I think that I don't see either. I don't see Cleveland at that level yet. I don't see New York at that level yet. And I don't see Houston with this injury at that level. I did see Houston at that level before the Fred VanVleet injury, but I think that his experience, his on the court savvy, things that he brought, a lot of the intangibles, as a lot of people like to say, are some of the reasons why that they will miss him a little bit, enough to bring them down a little bit on the pecking order for the Western Conference. But I do think that the NBA starts with OKC and Denver. The Lakers are in that conversation for third. I'll leave it at that. But I don't know if I'm going to put them third or fourth as of yet, or fifth as of yet. I have to really look it over and mull it over. But again, I will have my final predictions, and I will go ahead and say it here before the season starts. We always have that prediction show that we'd like to put on just before the season starts. And if you guys want to do that as well, you can always reach out, email LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. But I'll mention it again before, as we get closer to that. Can you go into the matchups a bit more with how we guard other players and how they guard us? In regards to, hold on, Joe No Ball, Marcus Smart or Jamal Murray, Reeves on Christian Braun. That's what you have to go to. That's Joe No Ball. That's what you would have to go to if Marcus Smart is healthy and he's able to play at a level that he's anywhere near the defensive player of the year. I don't know if he is. We have to see if he's a shot 31 or if he's still a spry 31. I don't know which Marcus Smart we are going to get, but let's just say you get something close to the defensive player that was in Boston. Yes, Marcus Smart would be on Jamal Murray and Reeves would be on Christian Braun. But as we've seen, Christian Braun is vastly improved. I think a lot of that is due to Nikola Jokic. I think Nikola Jokic makes players better. I think he's made a Christian Braun a good player. I think a lot of that is Christian Braun himself, but I think being on Jokic's team obviously doesn't hurt you. But I would have Reeves on Christian Braun. Yeah, that's the way I would go into that. Can you go into the matchups a bit more with how we guard other players and how they guard us? Saying that, I would say as far as how they would guard us, obviously you're trying to focus in more on Luka. I think LeBron is going to get more open looks this year because at 41, you're expecting a little less from LeBron. I think teams are going to take more chances and let LeBron have the opportunities to score or make decisions more. I think that the Luka double teams will come depending on the team, which will try to do it. But I think there will be double teams much more so on Luka. You saw it in Euroball where there were teams that double teamed and on occasion tried to triple team Luka, and he was still able to get around that effectively, get to the line. As far as guarding our team, the rest of the team, obviously, when us guarding Austin Reeves, obviously his defensive issues. Hopefully, that's a team that I talked about. Austin Reeves, Rui, DeAndre Ayton, of course, LeBron and Luka. It's one of the best offenses in the league if you start those guys. But also defensively, if they're in 17th, I will just say if they're 17, if they're in the between 15 and 20, I would be satisfied because if they're the top five offensive starting lineup, I think they can overcome, being a poor defensive unit. But if they're in the bottom 10, then obviously you have to start looking at other alternatives as of then. But when it comes to how you defend our team, obviously you're looking at trying to go ahead and get as many good matchups for yourself, but it depends on the other team. Let's say like it's Oklahoma City, you're going to go ahead and throw everybody you can out there on Luka, whether you start off with Dort and try to take him to Dort Island, or you try to go ahead and you throw Kason Wallace, try to throw Alex Caruso, try to throw SGA. SGA is like the ultimate backup. You throw Jay Will, then you might consider an SGA. Might throw Wiggins out there on him as well. All those guys can go throw a body at Luka, and so obviously that's what you would try to do over the course of a series. Luka has been effective, as we saw last season, and late at the end of the season. They should have won 2 games in Oklahoma City, but Luka got thrown out when the game was close. But Luka is not afraid of Oklahoma City. He's actually beaten Oklahoma City in a series when they went to the finals. So he's not afraid of Oklahoma City. But as a defensive unit, they can go ahead and throw many bodies out there at Luka. And I think that's the key. How many bodies can you throw at Luka? What kind of different looks can you throw at him? The size is still an issue because DeAndre Ayton is the only player of size unless you include LeBron. And LeBron, I don't know if he's not a real ferocious rebounder as far as him getting in there, bodying people up, boxing out, things like that. I don't see him do that as often as I would like to see him. Maybe in his older age, maybe he's more inclined to stay closer to the basket. I don't know. But the Lakers will still have issues with the new fascination, as you know, Joe Nopal, of the 2 big lineups that they will throw out during the course of the season, whether it's New York and its 2 big lineup, whether it's Oklahoma City and its 2 big lineup, and Houston. That caused a lot of problems because, as you know, the Lakers were one of the poorest rebounding teams, and that's something that hasn't been addressed or talked about by JJ a whole lot, was the attention to rebounding, because rebounding has got to be a key. The Lakers have to improve on rebounding. And that was even with Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, the team was a poor rebounding team, even with Anthony Davis on the team. And then they didn't have him on the team, and it got worse. So you have to find ways to go ahead and limit the number of boards that you're giving the other team as well. So hopefully that gives you a little idea and context of what I'm looking at during the course of the season. Yes, Isaac, I saw that 40-year-old Al Horford signed I think it was a multi-year contract with Golden State. Plus they signed Seth Curry, DeAnthony Melton, Gary Payton II as well, in anticipation of this Jonathan Kuminga signing, which has to happen here by the 1st, which is going to be in 2 days. So if they don't sign him to 2 days, he'll probably take to a larger contract, because I think the most he can sign and them still sign a free agent, because they would have another space for free agent, I think is $23 million is what they can offer him and still be able to sign someone else. If that's the case, we'll see that he finally takes that. But I think it's the issue of a team option at the end of the deal he has taken issue with. So if they relinquish that or relent on that, that might be a sign that he's going to go ahead and take it. Otherwise, he'll just take the qualifying offer at $8 million with full control. Or what you may see, and this has been talked about as well with him, he might take a 1-year, $10 to $15 million deal, but relinquish his right to a no trade clause, which allows him to be traded anywhere. So we will see what happens, but it is in the last 48 hours. Golden State has let this play out. You can make up your own mind if that was a good idea or not a good idea. But signing these guys to camp so late in the game, I don't know if it's really that smart, but okay. It is what it is. Because Horford, I think you're going to start him. I think Golden State is going to start him at center. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing to start a 40-year-old. We start a 41-year-old on our own, but it is what it is. I mean, LeBron is still one of the best players on the planet at 41 years old. I don't know if I can say the same for Horford, but he does stretch the floor as a big, and we'll have to see what he can do and how he will work with Draymond Green in that defense. Tough. So yeah, Luka pulls a few boards, but Tough, you got to remember, they were killed when even when Luka came over. You got to remember they were still killed on the boards. Teams were still offensive rebounding at a high rate, and Luka was there, and this is with Luka there. So if you're counting on Luka to shore up your rebounding deficiencies, that's not fair to Luka. It has to come from the front court as far as the rebounding is concerned. Tufso says, let's go. I cannot wait for even an exhibition game. Yep, let's go. It'll be coming up later this week. Gregory says, Laravia, Nick Smith Jr. fit Luka time. Well, let's slow down on the Nick Smith Jr. Let's see him develop his game first, Gregory. If he gets back to being a close to 40% shooter like he was in his rookie season, then we're talking. But if he's the 34% shooter he was last season, then we're not talking so much on that one. Then he's going to stay on a two-way, and it's going to finish out the season like that. If he plays better, becomes a scorer that the Lakers can count on coming off the bench, he'll be moved into a one-year contract, or maybe even if they like him a lot, maybe they'll move it to a small multi-year contract, and we'll go from there. So we'll see. We'll see with Nick Smith Jr. I have hopes that he can find the path here, and they can be the diamond in the rough that Rob Pelinka so desperately needs to help this bench in there. Gregory says Thunder, Nuggets, Rockets, Dallas, Lakers. There you go. Well, you said that. Dallas with their new look for AD, because AD was told by doctors he risks permanent sight loss if he doesn't put the glasses on and keep the glasses on, so he'll have glasses for the rest of his career. I don't put Dallas up that high because remember, Gregory, Kyrie Irving is hurt, and Cooper Flagg as a rookie, I think, yes, he might be a dynamic player at some point in time, maybe even sooner rather than later, but I think you don't put too much on a rookie, and he's going to be a lot has been put on him or going to be put on him as a rookie because of the injury to Kyrie Irving. I can't put Dallas that high just yet. And then again, the injury to Van Vliet leaves the door open for the Lakers, and I'll just leave it at that. Tufso says who? Who? Dallas. Anthony Davis. Yeah, Anthony Davis was told today that he said a media day that he was told by doctors that he has to keep glasses on. So you'll see him with goggles, essentially. So yes, from this point forward in his career. So don't be shocked when you see Anthony Davis for the first time in a game with glasses. Who did better in the offseason, Houston or Clips? That's a good question. Well, Houston did get Kevin Durant, and the Clips did. They added some depth. They added some depth where they needed, because behind Zubats they had nothing behind Zubats, and they added where they drafted a 7-footer. They got in Brook Lopez. They got Collins to add some beef along the front line. They got Bradley Beal for nothing. And if Bradley Beal is being paid minimal amount and he's shooting close to 40% from three, then it offsets what you lost in Norman Powell. That's a good question. That's a close call. I think both teams did well in the offseason. Of course, they got Dorian Finney-Smith. They got Clint Capella. I don't know how much. I think they're regretting the Clint Capella move because they could have used another guard, and now we see why. I would probably say Houston, because Kevin Durant may be able to swing some playoff series for them still. I think he has a 2-year window left where he can really still play at a high level if given the proper amount of rest beforehand. He plays 60 to 65 games. Then you coast him into a playoff season where he can really show out, because one of the things Houston had, like Oklahoma City, Houston and Oklahoma City are deficient in many of the same areas, and that is a stationary offense. Their offense in the half court was, both of those teams were not really that good in the half court offense. Houston was worse than Oklahoma City, in my opinion, in the half court offense, and they did a lot. They went a long way to fix that with the addition of Kevin Durant. So I'm going to give a slight edge to the Houston Rockets on that, tough so. But the Clippers really, they got some names. They got some names that, if they're still able to play, should improve their depth quite dramatically. Although they are, I believe, one of the oldest teams on record, and reminds me a little of what happened with the Lakers in 2022. And we all saw what happened there. But remember, Tough, that black cloud of the Kawhi gate is hanging over their heads, and that's going to be an issue. Gregory says, I'll put Dallas that high without Kyrie. Remember, most of the players were hurt last year. If all can come back, hell yes, I put it. Well, I'm glad you have that confidence in them, Gregory. I don't. I think there's a lot of good players on that team, but I just don't think it mixes well enough together yet without Kyrie. I think Kyrie will make it all work effectively, and I think Cooper Flag eventually will get to that star level player that can help make this work as well. I think next year you're looking at a top 3 or 4 team in the Western Conference. Right now, I'm looking at them at 5th through 8th, personally, this year. So we'll see what happens. What am I really excited about this year? Mark F. and Walter is the owner of the Lakers. Not yet, not official, but hopefully that will happen sooner rather than later. Gregory says Kyrie was the only one hurt. They're shooting with Clay, PJ, and those 3 bigs. Yes. Okay. Well, again, I think that, again, Kyrie is the straw that stirs the drink on them. And we'll see what happens. But again, I think it's they have, I think, what is the best front line in the NBA, at least the most depth along the front line than anyone in the NBA. I mean, no one can throw the kind of talented 7-footers that these guys have, and I will give you that. But do they have enough shooting with Clay now up there in years? PJ, who got the fat contract, will he continue his high level of play coming off the bench? And then what about Max Christie? Max Christie, again, he's all over the place. He started out in Dallas hot, and then he went really cold, was out of the starting lineup by the end of the year. So let's see if he can bounce back and have a good season. And then, of course, what can D'Angelo Russell still do for you at this stage of his career? So we'll see. Johnny says, okay, my bad. Will be the Lakers. Will be. Yes. But my hope is that day will come sooner rather than later as well. You guys have been great in the chat. Let's just thank you so much. DBSH, make sure you email me, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com, whether it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whenever, as far as you said for me to go on your channel. Please let me know. I gotta, I tell everybody out there on Wednesday, because I know you said Wednesday at 5. I will, if it is Wednesday at 5, make sure you email me the link at LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. I will try to be there. Wednesday, I do have to go to the DMV at 1 o'clock, which means by 9 o'clock, I might get out. No, I'm kidding. Almost kidding. But I will say again, I'm at the DMV on Wednesday. I will, if I'm having any issues, I'll email you, let you know. But please email me the update at LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com, because I really want to be there for you, man, because you've been here for so long for me. And it's always great to have DBSH. You do a great job on your channel, and I always do anything I can to give you a shout out and support out there. Yo, for DBSH. But yes, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. Hit me up, man. Bloodhound says, Gerald, do you think Triple H has ruined the WWE? My, how the tables have turned in less than a year, from Triple H getting all the praise and flowers he could get to what we have now I mean, I could say it's not um, as exciting as it once was. Although I do like the Vision angle, the Vision stuff they're doing with the Vision, and I do like the stuff that they're doing with Asuka, Kairi Sane, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley. I kind of like that, but I understand that there's not a whole lot after that on both the Monday and Friday shows that really gets me excited. Um, I can't say I blame you, but the proof is still in the pudding, Bloodhound. Are they still getting the sellouts? I mean, the first couple days here in Vegas for WrestleMania next year, even at those exhaustingly terrible prices, that it's just insane. I will not pay $800 for a nosebleeder seat at the Allegiant Stadium. I have been in the 400 section. I've gotten a comp for the 400 section at Allegiant Stadium. I am not paying $850 for that for 2 nights. And but they're still selling them. They're still doing well. As long as those seats are still getting full, Bloodhound, you have to say he's still doing okay. I don't like the storylines where most of them are going. I agree with you. When he was giving all the praise, if you saw my State of Pro Wrestling with John Orlando, we were giving praise, but we were also saying what was working and what's not. We give a fair assessment on both AEW and WWE on what is working and what's not working. I do like the fact that they purchased AAA. Maybe that can infuse some life and creativity into this whole situation with the WWE. But we'll see. Again, even with their dynamic pricing, as they like to call it at TKO, are they still getting the people in the seats? And as long as they're still doing that, as long as they're getting you to go ahead and pay $30 a month for the ESPN app and Peacock and all that other stuff, I guess you could still say he's doing his job. But I agree with you. I think it's, especially the way they've handled John Cena after the heel turn, I think it's really not gone in the right direction. I don't think ruined is the word I'd use just yet. We'll see this time next year if attendance is dramatically down, then I think we can start pulling that out. Tusso says, good job interviewing all the other teams. You know what? I wanted to do something for you guys and provide more content. I see what my competitors do. The top competitors do is providing content throughout the day with stuff that's happening earlier in the day and then, of course, later in the day. And I want to, if I have time, I want to start doing that stuff for you. So that's one of the things I did. I reached out all over the world to people all over the world that cover and write about their teams on a daily basis, or write or report and talk about or podcast on those teams on a daily basis. And I wanted to bring them to you, their perspective on their teams and also what they think about the Lakers. So I'm hoping you are watching it because I've put a lot of time and effort in lining those interviews up. I just had an interview with someone that covers the Jazz in Japan that you'll see later here. One of the back end shows, because it's Utah, it's alphabetical order, so it's in U's. But I interviewed him in Japan and I stayed up till, past midnight just to make sure that I got a good conversation with him. I had an interview early in the morning with someone from Ireland as well. I'm willing to do that for you guys. I just need you to watch it, or I just need you to subscribe, all that good stuff, because I am putting the effort into you to try and make more content and make more good content for you from here at the Lakers Fast Break. Bloodhound says TKO is trying to UFC. Absolutely. They have not been shy about that. Bloodhound, I will say this. As much as I hate what TKO is doing to the WWE and the comments Mark Shapiro, one of the heads of TKO, said about WWE, and said that Vince McMahon priced a good portion of the tickets towards families, and they wanted to change that and make it more dynamic pricing, meaning that they sell it at the highest possible price at the best times whenever those tickets are available, and change it on the fly when needed. They're not shy. They don't lie to you, Bloodhound. They are clearly proven to want to incentivize and make their shareholders happy and themselves happy. I just said, though, on the recent State of Pro Wrestling, I said with John Orlando, I said last week, I said, we get that. We understand the prices are outrageous. People are still buying it. They're trying to maximize their profit. They're trying to squeeze every dollar out of it. That's what TKO is doing. They made an investment with the UFC and WWE. That's what they're doing. And I just sincerely hope if they're charging these extra prices, that they're getting all these dollars, that they're passing it on to the performers in the octagon and in the ring. That's my hope, is that they're paying them a fair wage and compensation, because we're not here to, we don't go to UFC matches. We don't go to WWE matches to see TKO. We see them for the wrestlers or the fighters. And that's who should be getting the best cut and the biggest cut of what TKO is doing right now. Johnny 2K6, aren't they already? The ring service has those ads. Again, they're maximizing every dollar out there, Johnny. The fact that 2027 WrestleMania be in Saudi Arabia, that speaks in and of itself. The only silver lining for me on that, because I know a lot of people say they sold out, et cetera, et cetera. I think it opens up a window where London can now say, you know what, you guys are no longer having WrestleManias in North America anymore. Why don't you have a WrestleMania here? We really want you. They've been very adamant. The mayor of London has been very adamant about wanting a WrestleMania in London. I think that now, with the fact that Saudi Arabia has a WrestleMania, it's now a possibility. I'd like to see one in Mexico, Japan, maybe at the Tokyo Dome. A WrestleMania in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, would be awesome. Maybe it won't be Vanderlei Silva getting knocked out, but maybe a WrestleMania, or in Mexico, or again, it now leaves open the possibility of it going to a place, Australia, for instance, where it's going, because Crown Jewel's coming in Perth. They could sell 60, 70,000 seats stadiums in there. So we could see what happens. But I think it does open the door for those other countries to say, hey, you did it for Saudi Arabia. What do you need to do it for us? Gregory says, I'll be attending a Lakers and Wizards game on January 30th at the Capitol. Congratulations, Gregory. That's awesome. I hope you interact with us on playback on that day or after the game and tell us your experience, because I'd love to hear it from the crypt and see. Oh, you're in the Capital One, Capital One Arena. And because you're in the Washington, D.C. area, or in and around there, Baltimore area, which I've been to. That area is very underrated. I had a great time in Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area when I was there. And if you're going to go check it out there, I do hope you have a great time. We'd love to hear how you see and perceive the game from there, and what the crowd size is. I know it'll be late January. The team in Washington will already be struggling. What's the crowd size like? Will it be like the Raiders game here this past weekend, where everyone that was watching the Chicago Bears and Raiders could clearly see it was 50-50 Bears and Raiders fans on there? It was hilarious. I've been to 3 Raiders games last season. I saw exactly that the Raiders get a lot of the other team's fans into that game. In fact, I think what was the Browns? That was 60% more Browns fans, and the Steelers fans. The Steelers fans was actually a lot more than that as well. The Steelers fans were well more than the Raiders fans on that game as well. What's up, Johnny? Great to have you here, both you Johnnies. Great to have you here. It is Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for listening. Thought I'd stay just a few minutes and end up being a lot more, but you guys provided me some great conversation, so I'm indebted to you once again. Bloodhound says the product has to be good to be worth the money. I agree with you. I will not put the money out if the product is not good. I will not buy tickets for something I don't believe in just because it's there. I will not spend money on pay-per-views. I will not spend my money on products just because it's the WWE, or it's because it's AEW, or it's like, for instance, with Microsoft. I really wanted that Xbox handheld Rogue Ally X. But as I've told you on this show, but I do not want to spend $1,000 for it. I will not. I refuse to spend $1,000 for it. I know that JSJ is laughing at me when I say that, but I don't think even he expected it to be a cool, crisp, just $1,000 bill that you need to buy that unit. That is just, it's good. It'll do a lot of things that I needed to do. It's better than a Steam Deck, but is it $500 better than a Steam Deck? No, it is not. Yeah, you live in DC. Awesome, man. Because again, I'd love to. One thing I would like to do, all politics aside, I would love to go back to DC. And I only got to spend. I was only privileged enough to spend just one day, one full day at the Smithsonian museums, and only got to really see like two. I was only in two or three. Those buildings are huge, Gregory, and you know this. Being in the DC area, those buildings in the Smithsonian are huge. I don't want to go into what's in them. I know that's been a subject of controversy. I enjoyed my time there. Learning about the history of this country, learning all the different aspects. But I only broke the surface. And if you guys have got any time to go and learn, go check out the Smithsonian museums, because there are a bunch of huge buildings, and there's a lot you need to see when you're there. So yes. Xbox says the Switch is 800 and it's a PS3. It's 500 here in the States still, the Switch 2. But yes, it is like having a PS4 as far as the thing. But Microsoft raising their price on their consoles, that's just crappy. That's just absolutely. I cannot defend Microsoft Xbox after they did it twice in a year. They've raised the price twice in a year. And Costco and Josh told me earlier today on the Pop Culture Cosmos that they pulled, both of them have. I know Costco pulled Xbox off, and they're no longer selling Xbox. But when he told me Sam's Club did, it's like, why? They don't deserve it. They don't deserve to sell the units, but they're jacking up the price twice in a year. That's wrong. The Series X is sweet. I have one. I have one Xbox. I bought it at $350, brand new, with the Diablo 4 version that came with Diablo 4. That version with the disc is now $600. I did not expect when I bought my Xbox Series S at $225 and my Xbox Series X at $350 to both gain in profit when I bought them. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. 5-6 years into life cycle. Xbox, they didn't do it twice in the same year. Xbox, they didn't do it twice in the same year. So my PlayStation guy, no. I have a PS4. I have an Uncharted PS4 right behind me here, but I don't have a PS5 yet. I've been waiting for a reason to buy PS5 next year, and Wolverine might get me there. Wolverine looked pretty good, Johnny. I will admit that. Wolverine is the first game in all these years on the PlayStation 5 that has me thinking about a PlayStation 5. Yes, there you go. Can't wait for Black Ops 7. I know at this point I lose track of whatever Call of Duty we're on, but yes, Black Ops 7. I just play it. And if I enjoy it, if I stay with it, if I don't. But then again, it's on Game Pass. So Xbox game. That's the one thing I can say Xbox, that I can defend Xbox. It's the Game Pass is still the best deal in video games. And I'll leave it at that. But Battlefield 6, watch out for Battlefield 6, everybody. EA, which just bought itself out with some help and funding from the Saudis and other capital ventures. They bought back their shares and they've now gone private. They are no longer a publicly traded company. It took $55 billion again to get them off of being a publicly traded company. But yeah, they're now privately owned company. But we'll see what happens with Battlefield 6. JSJ says, I want a new God of War game. I have a feeling you'll get probably an answer to that next year. Maybe as early as announcement at the Game Awards in December. Come here. Bloodhound EA is going private, more of the same slop. Yeah, I mean, it's all about, how much they sell Madden, how would they sell, how many units they sell Battlefield, how many units they sell FC, 24, 25, et cetera, because they want you to get hooked into all the microtransactions and all that stuff. And people keep spending money on those microtransactions. You guys spend those money on microtransactions, so that's why they're doing it. Electronic Arts, yes, Electronic Arts. You got that correct. Yes, EA is Electronic Arts. and they went private earlier today. They announced a $55 billion deal to basically sell out all the buy up all the stock from current shareholders, costing them $55 billion, and was supported by I think one or two private equity firms and a Saudi company as well to go ahead and help them out. Xbox, I'm sorry, I got to disagree with you. Wolverine looked good to me, with all due respect. Don't hate because it's just a PlayStation game. Wolverine looked good. Ghost Yete, that's coming out later this week. That looks okay, but doesn't make me want to buy a PS5. Wolverine might get me there. We'll see. We'll see. I yes or no, I haven't decided on that, but we'll see. If it's still $600 to get a PS5, I draw the line there. I wish I could physically purchase those old Command and Conquer titles. Yeah, there you go. You still can, Johnny. There are still ways that you can get it. I mean, eBay has a lot of options. There are retailers, like if you lived here in Las Vegas, I know that my good friends at Retro City Games could look for that for you, as far as the Command and Conquer games, because they're specialists here in the Las Vegas area. They have 4 stores. They're opening up their 4th one here at the right in the middle of Caesar's Palace, the forum shops. If you were here, but if you have local game vendors in your area that you're at, I would ask them to see if they can go ahead and help you with the Command and Conquer physical titles. Otherwise, there are avenues out there. There are several resellers that do go ahead and are able to provide you options on buying Command and Conquer's game physically, because they're still out there. At a price. But Bloodhound said Wolverine looked great. At least EA will stop making. Oh, Xbox, come on. I don't want to even go into that. I don't even know what trash you're referring to. As far as I'm concerned, isn't Mass Effect the next BioWare game? Yes, JSJ. Supposedly it is still on track, although I might be a great grandfather by the time that game comes out, which may not be that far away. But I'm guessing 2029, maybe 8 for a Mass Effect game. I mean, because it sounded like it was far away, and the fact that their last game, Dragon Age, didn't score all that well, I would make sure I would take my time and make sure this is going to hit with audiences, because if Mass Effect does not hit this time around, as much as you see I'm a big fan right here behind me, if Mass Effect does not hit with audiences, then BioWare will be out of business. They will shut down EA will shut down that studio if Mass Effect does not hit. I will buy Mass Effect, most likely, unless it's like the last Mass Effect is. I mean, I got it on the cheap because I waited for that one because that was so bad upon release. But if it's halfway decent, if it's good, I'll buy it. If it's great, I'll buy it for day one. But yeah, absolutely looking forward to seeing that. But they can't blow it, or else they're done. All right, Xbox says they have not released enough exclusive this gen. Xbox has better. I agree with you, Xbox, but the fact is Xbox has priced itself into oblivion. They have not promoted well. They started on a bad note. You and I could have this argument all day long, but when you started off this generation with a very poor start, PlayStation had the much better start than Xbox did, and that's how PlayStation has sold more dollars than in this generation than any other generation they've had, and that's why Xbox is getting their stuff pulled off the shelves because they had such a bad start and it steamrolled from there. And they don't promote their products well. Microsoft does, and there's really nothing. I mean, you and I could have this argument all day. I prefer Xbox over PlayStation, but Xbox is unfortunately not the greatest in promoting their own products. And again, they've really had the better games, but only in the past really 2 years have they really been consistent with putting out good games. Johnny says, okay, Gerald, we'll ask you around here first. I prefer old physical media now. Also, music CDs, vinyls need a Beatles. You know what? Again, check around. there I understand with physical media being that's something that a lot of companies now are not trying to make. There's still a big business now, as I mentioned, or in your area with local shop owners, those local mom and pop places. Again, my friends at Retro City Games has been booming because of the stuff that they're doing, and they don't sell much in Pokemon, they don't sell much in Magic, they don't sell much in comic books, they don't sell much in some of the other stuff that a lot of pops. They don't sell much in pops. They don't sell much of the plush toys. They sell their predominant they're one of the few businesses that are still predominantly video games. Mostly video games. And they have flourished in with their physical games that they have and that they sell on a regular basis. Again, they're opening their 4th location here in Las Vegas. There are locations near you that have those type of places, whether it's record stores, because vinyl's back in vogue. CDs are back in vogue. Audio cassettes are spiking again in sales. It's never going to get back to the way it once was, but at least as a novelty, they are starting to get some interest once again. So yes, there should be some stores in your area that have a renewed interest in vinyl. Otherwise, there are places online. I assure you, starting with eBay and going from there. If you don't like eBay, you don't feel comfortable with eBay, there are other reselling places that have trustworthy sales individuals that are out there, or auction houses, online auction houses that you can go ahead online, like Whatnot, and then you can take a look from there that specialize in stuff that you might be looking for as well. All right. One Fly. What's up, One Fly? Xbox went downhill when they labeled the Xbox One as an entertainment system. Yeah, Xbox One was the Xbone. And Xbox would have to probably relent on that as well. The Xbone was the start of their demise. You're right. They didn't do themselves any favor with this current generation and the way they promoted it, and the fact that they really didn't have the games to start off with this generation. They've really done. They had the games that they had in this year that they would have put out in their first year. It would be a completely different story. But you're right on the Xbone. The Xbone, when they debuted that thing at E3 and they had Don Matrick up there saying absolutely the dumbest things imaginable about it, with the nuclear submarine comment and some other stuff that he said that was just absolutely asinine, and the DRM controversy back then. PlayStation, what they did was PS4, they came right away, and in one video, they turned the entire console war around by doing one video at E3 where the two heads of Sony, US and Japan, they just said, here's our product sharing program. After rumors that they were going to do the DRM thing as well, they said, oh, here we go. Here's a disc. There you go. They did it right on camera at E3. That blew up. That went viral. And that changed the race, in my opinion, of the console race forever. Unless something is done in the PS6, Xbox 6 era. So we'll see what happens there. Too bad the KOTOR remake was canceled. Yeah, I agree with you, Bloodhound. Knowing EA, they will mess it up. JSJ, yeah, EA, the most hated company several years running for a long time. The worst company to work for. It was voted on for several years. So yeah, they have their bit. But yeah, Bloodhound says I have the Beatles box set they released 15. Oh, that's nice. I don't know, Bloodhound. Did you guys hear as well that for the first time, Paul McCartney, I believe it was at Santa Monica this past weekend for the first time, sang "Help" for the first time since the '60s, which was obviously an amazing thing for a lot of people there because they'd never heard Paul McCartney sing, "Help," which was John Lennon's song from way back when, since the 1960s. Last time it was sung out live, so that's great. We will agree that you have this one right, Cheryl. That's correct, Xbox. I have this one right. Xbox, I've covered this for years. No one could be more right on this than me, Xbox. I know you're blinded like Laker Tom. Like Laker Tom is blinded with the Lakers. You are blinded with the green and white of Xbox. I get it. I understand it. And bless you, child. Bless you, child, on that. I agree. But I love Xbox. It is still Xbox Game Pass is the best value gaming, but price hiking your products twice in 1 year is a really bad move. It's a really, really bad move. And I'll leave it at that. Funny enough, I recently took out my Sony Walkman out of storage to show a friend. Might want to check Johnny online to see how valuable that is, because a lot of those electronics I sold in the 90s, working for the good guys, those are kind of valuable now. And I'll just leave it at that. So, yes, Xbox 360 was their best console. Despite the ring of death, yes, it was the best console. And they were on an even platform with Sony heading into the Xbone PS4 generation. And they blew it. They absolutely blew it. And they could never get it back. Yes. Yeah, welcome to Game Source. You know what? That was a period a long time ago. Game Source is what I started with in podcasting. It will always have a place in my heart. Unfortunately, things didn't materialize well out of it, and things kind of fell through on that. Had some stuff that went on behind the scenes, and mistakes were made, and unfortunately, was not able to keep it going. But it evolved into the cosmos, the pop culture cosmos, and the pop culture cosmos that I do still every week evolved into the Lakers Fast Break, and here we are today. JSJ, the Kinect was hyped up back then. I liked the Kinect. I had a Kinect. I liked it. I liked using it. My family loved it. My kids at that time who were young, they were loved dancing around and making them. We had fun with it. It didn't do what they wanted to do, but the best thing I've ever seen from Microsoft in that sense was called Illuma Room, which they never released publicly. They just showcased it at an E3 well over a decade ago. I got to go in there, and it was the entire room interacting with you based off of your movements and things like that. I thought it was going to be the wave of the future, and they never took out to. They never finished it. But yeah, Microsoft's Illuma Room was something I was really hoping would pop. It reminded me in some small sense of the rooms that they have in Star Trek, where you can go ahead and create your own fantasies and whatnot. But this was just like, it took the Kinect on steroids and allowed you to interact with an entire large expanded area. But they never did anything with it. So yeah, one of the many prototypes I have seen at E3. There you go. Xbox, you're not going to win this argument, Xbox. Again, the sales are there. The proof is in the sales. It just is what it is. So the Kinect was, yes. When I first bought my Kinect, JSJ, I went to Best Buy. There was a stack of Kinects like that high, and people were buying them left and right. So yes, we were all hooked into the Kinect in the first shot right there. Drip Show, big shout out once again. Please give Drip Show Shop a try on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. Go ahead and hook up right there with him. Follow him, and also get one of the many great items that you can get from him, custom made, and really, really does a great job, as you can see right over the right side of me right there. All right, but I think that's going to do it. I think for everyone who was listening for a Lakers Media Day show, I think about halfway through, they probably checked out we went into the video game scene. Okay. Bloodhound says, I'm mad because I expected 60th anniversary of Rubber Soul this year, not the 30th anniversary of Beatles Anthology, which is wait 10 more years. Remember, guys, got to remember, the Beatles do not have control over their library anymore. They sold those rights. I think it's Apple, if I'm not mistaken, that has those rights. So all up to the guys at Northern California right there with Apple. So again, that's up to them on that. But that was probably a good idea. It would have been great for the 60th anniversary of Rubber Soul. But yeah, be that said, I'm going to go ahead and check on out. But I will be coming back this week with a special show because Jamie Sweet wanted to go ahead and come on the air. So I'm going to try and work out a deal with him. We have more NBA team previews. I just dropped one today to you guys out there. So hopefully you got a chance to see it earlier today. That is, what's the last one I put? Yeah, both Clippers season previews are now available to the entire public. I just put up for members $2.99 a month. Members got to see the Memphis Grizzlies season preview with Dr. Joshua Greer. That is still for members only right now. Tomorrow I will put out another one that's coming up. What's next coming up for members up here? Let me go ahead and bring it up for you guys real quick, just to get you guys interested, because I'm still doing interviews. By the way, I'm still wrapping up my interviews. I got 27 teams done. No, 28 teams done. 28 teams done of the 29 I need. So I'm still doing interviews for you guys on that, but I will say that I'm going to be dropping next after the Memphis Grizzlies. When that goes public, I'll be dropping Miami Heat with Zachary Weinberger. That one is going to be available for members tomorrow. So look forward to that one as well. So yeah, great show. Great show. Thank you, everyone. Truly trying hard for you guys. Truly trying to do a lot of good stuff. And hopefully you'll get it. Because remember, as I build up these relationships with these guys, I've told them all, as you've seen on my videos, I've invited them to come back during the course of the season. So a lot of these guys, hopefully, if all goes well, will be coming back, and I'll be continuously providing interviews and a lot of good stuff coming as far as extra stuff that members will see first to the channel. Gregory, man, I just appreciate it. You're at 2:00 in the morning and you're watching me ramble on about video games and the Lakers. I am truly honored. See, it's these things, when you guys tell me these things, that I get you through the work night, or I get you through the morning drive, or Joe and I arguing gets you through this. It cheers me up. It tells me that what I'm doing is worth your while, and that I truly am indebted to you guys for as well. Yes, Johnny, I'm going to say this again. I like the fact that it was unremarkable. I think that's what we needed. We did not need a juicy, controversy-laden conversation for as far as that's concerned. So I'm glad that we had an unremarkable, by the books, everybody with their athlete speak, giving you all the cliches. Everybody's in the greatest of health. They lost weight, they gained weight, they ate right, they played golf, all that stuff. Bryce is going to do Bryce stuff. LeBron is happy with what's going on with his contract. He's cool. He's seen more in behind the rearview mirror than what's in front of it. He knows he's not near the end. All that stuff, nothing surprising. I just like that. It's kind of stress-free. And for once, heading into the season, I think that's what we need. Let the guys down the street deal with the Kawhi gate and all that stuff, and all the non-answers Kawhi gave during his press conference today and all that stuff. Yeah, I didn't need that, Johnny. I didn't need any controversy, no backhanded comments from LeBron or anything. This is one of his best media days ever. They didn't take a shot at the previous coach or anything like that this time around. It was just a really uneventful, unremarkable media day. And I think that's what us Lakers fans needed. It's just to focus on what's upcoming with training camp, keeping the guys healthy, getting into the exhibition season, which starts this Friday, and going from there. All right. Yeah, it's like the first day of school. Absolutely. But well, sometimes the first day of school can get interesting, especially if you kind of got some stuff found out, especially if Pablo Torre found some stuff out. But need I digress. Didn't find it out on the Lakers as of yet. All right. But thanks so much again for listening and watching. Truly appreciate it. Bloodhound says, unfortunately, music streaming has completely devalued music releases. I would love to see more releases and new additions. I would as well, Bloodhound. I know that some of the newer artists, they do bring out a sprinkling of stuff to vinyl or CD or audio cassette now, just as like a novelty or a gimmick, and they give out limited quantities. But it's a nice nod and a gesture, but I don't ever think it will get back to what it once was, because like you said, digital streaming, that Napster generation really did a lot to change things in a different direction. And again, digital has, like for instance, physical media, a lot of it's based on the past and not on the current when it comes to physical media. And that's just seemingly the way it is going to be going so forward. Bloodhound says Kawhi planted so many trees over the summer. Yes, he did. Again, if he was alluding that he did something on this contract. I like to know what he did to get paid to earn the money on this contract. He didn't have to do a thing according to the contract, so I want to know what he did. If he says he did something, I want to know what he did. He didn't clarify what he did, so in essence, I still think he did nothing on this contract except take a paycheck on it. So yeah, absolutely neat. Jay White, thank you so much. Truly means a lot when you guys send these thoughts my way. I cannot thank you enough. It allows me to do this 2 hours talking to you to the Clippers Media Day. Oh, yes, JSJ. Yes, it happened. You might want to check the highlights, but yes, it happened. And you got all the tension going over there. Steve Ballmer was conveniently not there. Imagine that. All right, but no controversy here with the Lakers, the media day. We get into training camp tomorrow. And if we hear more news, keep your fingers crossed, guys, that no one gets hurt. Dude Thiero, again, still waiting for about another week before he'll be cleared, a week or so before he'll be cleared. Hopefully the swelling in his knee will go down, allow him to be cleared to go ahead and run with the rest of the team. And we can focus on exhibition basketball on Friday, indeed. So truly cannot thank you guys enough. Please like and subscribe on the way out. If you're not subscribed already, it really helps out the channel. $2.99 a month gets you the extra stuff I do on a hopefully current basis, on a constant basis, like the team previews a little bit early. So hopefully you guys will go ahead and do that, plus the fancy emotes and all that other stuff. But big shout out to my mods, Xbox, and everyone else, Kurt Affair, who was there tonight, and Search and SB and all my regular crew of mods. Truly appreciate it. And then everyone out here who's been here for the past 2 hours, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out of your day to talk with me. Truly cannot thank you enough. Looking forward to some good stuff. Maybe a Lakers Fast Break radio show this week. Maybe also as well a conversation with Jamie Sweet. Who knows what I've got in store for you guys, but I've always got something in store for you guys right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.